And good evening. This is Late Night Parent. I like to say Late Night Parents live with our good friend Danny Thompson, NBA Full Court Press. You know him, you love him, and you'll hear him tomorrow on the Happy Hour Network talking NBA playoffs. But there's a lot of things happening tonight, as we know, with the NBA. We know about Mamba Day. We named this episode Mamba Day. Also, I think the Dubs are trying to do something special tonight also. So it's a great day for the NBA, but we want to welcome back Danny Thompson. Danny, how you doing?
Ted, how's it going, man? I'm glad to be out doing the show again. It's been a long time since I've been in your airways.
Yeah. Well, you know, I mean, you and I, we talk all the time, but as per, offline, but online, I think it's a special treat to hear the both of us talking about whatever the latest topic is, but it's all about the NBA today. 413 is all NBA, all Mamba Day. Dubs, what's your thoughts?
I mean, besides Mamba Day, you have, the Warriors going for the record. And don't forget, Miami and Boston are playing for home court tonight, and they play against each other. So, the winner of that game gets home court in the playoffs, which means a lot. And if Miami gets a little help, from Washington, Miami ends up avoiding Cleveland to the conference finals, potentially. So it's stories everywhere.
Perfect. So, hey, I want to go into there's a couple of hot topics. I know we're tight for time, but you're a wealth of information. And I want to get into it about the Dubs real quick and say, so their quest for 73 wins. They're the greatest team of all time if they win tonight. But did you hear that there's a report that ticket prices for tonight's historical game at the Oracle has gone as high as $17,000? Tell me, will the Dubs do it tonight?
I mean, Memphis is a team that's basically broken down. There's no Mike Conley. There's no, Marc Gasol. The team is full of injuries. It seems like everybody who's in Memphis keeps on getting hurt. So the question is not will the Dubs win this game, but the question is how much will they win by, and will Steph Curry break those two records, or basically set two records that could be one record that could be potentially unattainable, which is the three-point record.
So, three-point record, what's the magic number?
He needs 8 to get 400 for the season.
400, wow.
Yeah. That's like a number. Just think about it. 400 3-pointers in the season. Curry, he broke his own record. I mean, he set his own record back in March. So he's setting a number that's going to be pretty much hard to believe. So if you think about it, even if Curry played 80 games, that's still 5 3-pointers made a game.
Right. Wow. What's the second record that he's?
Well, basically, he's one of the few players in a long time that averaged 35 and 5. So he needs to score 40 points tonight to get to 30 points a game for the season. So that's just another little tip that 35 and 5. That's pretty much very few guys get in that realm. I think the last person that did, I think it was either Kobe Bryant or Tracy McGrady that got that level last. Jordan was always in that level pretty much every year. But just think about it. A point guard scoring 35 and 5 a game, that's just insane. Shooting the way.
All right. So tonight's the coronation at the Oracle. Let's just say they go 73-9 for the season. But they lose in the playoffs. Does it go down? Does it still go down as the greatest season ever?
The greatest regular season ever. But it does, like Scottie Pippen said, in his interview with my good friend Jimmy Spencer Interrupted, doesn't matter unless you walk away with the ring. And if Golden State fails in the playoffs to win a championship, then they're the greatest regular season team in the history. They won't be the greatest team ever. Kind of like the Patriots were a few years ago in the NFL.
Right.
Probably the greatest regular season team ever, but they didn't win it.
Totally. So you would consider it a failure?
Oh, it's a definite failure. There's no ifs, ands, or buts.
So tell me this much. If, let's just say hypothetically, they get the 73 wins, they don't get a title this year, do they still raise the banner that says 73 wins?
I don't think you do. I think you acknowledge it, but you just leave it there. Like I said, you throw up a 73 banner if you throw up a championship banner beside it. And then really on the championship banner, you put 73 on the championship banner. I don't think you need a separate banner for that.
Okay. And we're talking with Danny Thompson, NBA Full Court Press. The website, NBAFCPradio.com, has a great article up this week. If the draft happened right now, version 1. And my question to you is, so who goes number 1, Brandon Ingram or Ben Simmons?
Basically, I've talked to a lot of scouts, in my travels in the NBA, and a lot of them are split down the middle on Ben Simmons and Brandon Ingram. Yeah, a lot of times it's depending on who your needs are and what kind of roster you have around them. The Sixers have the best shots in that 1 overall pick this year. And if you look at the Sixers roster and you look at Ben Simmons, he fits in well. But Brandon Ingram is one of those players I think that might be even more special than Ben Simmons is. Simmons, you know what you're going to get in the beginning. He's not LeBron James. So if you're expecting that, you're not going to get that. But I think he's a high-skill version of Lamar Odom. And when people forget, Lamar Odom was a very, very good basketball player. He just never had that switch to turn it on. That could be potentially what Ben Simmons' issue is. But when I look at Brandon Ingram, 6'9", 6'10" frame, I'm looking at basically Kevin Durant. I mean, he has a skinny frame with the ability to score everywhere on the court, and most importantly, if the Sixers are picking first, you must forget Jerry Colangelo is buddy-buddy with Mike Krzyzewski, Brandon Ingram's college coach. So I think that becomes the X factor, getting that insight from Coach K and that intel since he coached him for a full year.
So I guess my next question was going to be, who's the better small forward, pound for pound?
I'm taking Brandon Ingram. I like a guy who could actually shoot the basketball. Ben Simmons' big issue is that he can't hit anything outside of 15 feet. And Brandon Ingram has that dog in him. He has that want to win. And he doesn't back down from anybody. Ben Simmons at times this year has shown a little frustration, shown that I don't care attitude, even though he puts up insanely numbers at LSU. So I like Ingram a little bit more.
I need you to look at into your crystal ball, because you're going to tell us, I want you to tell the listeners, which one, Ingram or Simmons, will have a better NBA career.
Barring injury, Ben Simmons. I just think a guy at 6'10" can do so much because he's already a very, very good rebounder and a very good ball handler. I think the only thing he has to work on is the shooting, and that would just be a team getting a coach, in there working with him in the gym and making him become a gym rat when it comes to shooting. That's something you can fix. You're given the ability to rebound, and especially his ball handling ability at 6'10". It's phenomenal. That's why I say it's Lamar Odom-esque. Like I say, if he works in the jumper, I think he's probably one of the 2 or 3 best players in the league within 5 years.
Okay. I take your word on that. I just know this much. Every media outlet is comparing this guy. Every major media outlet is comparing this guy as the next LeBron James. And, that sets him up for failure. Immediate failure, and there was a lot of talk about a $100 million Nike contract, and similar to the $90 million LeBron James contract that he signed outside of high school once he left his high school. But I'm excited. This is a great time for the NBA, and looking forward to the draft, and looking forward to seeing version 2 of your mock draft. We want to get into a very serious subject that's happening right now. Also on tonight's show we have Christine Connolly, who's a transgender parent that I had a conversation with, I'm going to say late last year, that we decided to re-air on the show because it's just the topic is so sensitive right now with the anti-LGBT law that's going on out there in North Carolina. I think there's some rumblings in Mississippi also, this backlash against the LGBT community. And I want to say, with this being the case, with it happening in North Carolina, and it's being brought to the forefront, yes or no, should the NBA state their concerns and formally announce, that they're doing something in regards to the 2017 All-Star Game? Should they announce, like, what is Adam Silver thinking about it? Because this guy has his hand on the pulse of everything. Why haven't they said anything yet, Danny?
I think Adam Silver is letting Mayor Pat McCrory and Governor Pat McCrory in the state of North Carolina figure this out without them having to pull it. I mean, they're hoping that what has already been done in North Carolina would get people to change and repeal that law. I mean, PayPal, one of the biggest companies in the world, was going to build an actual distribution center and call center out in North Carolina, out in the Charlotte area, bringing over 500 to 600 jobs out there. And when the law passed, PayPal was like, no, sorry, we're not going to do that. And you have other entities pulling out of the Carolinas. I mean, there was a pilot for Lionsgate for a new television show that was going to be filmed in Charlotte. That's now gone. Businesses are pulling out. Bruce Springsteen's concert in Greensboro was canceled 2 days before the show because of the law that was passed. Adam Silver is just hoping that with all this stuff being taken away from North Carolina, that they will go back and repeal this law. I think as we get closer to, I'm going to say, the start of the NBA fiscal year, which will be in July, if this is not resolved, I think Adam Silver has no choice but to pull the All-Star Game from Charlotte. And I know it's going to be disappointing to my home city, especially for me because I wanted to be there, but it's going to be basically the NBA has its hands tied, because if you don't pull it, you're supporting what the bill is. If you do pull it, then that means, that's another loss for Charlotte, and I don't know how many more economic losses, especially the city of Charlotte, can take because of this law.
And I'm glad you mentioned it. We're talking with Danny Thompson, NBA Full Court Press. This is your hometown. This is your hometown. So this kind of hits home with you with something that, as egregious that's being put out there. I mean, usually when the revenue starts to affect a situation, that's where people start to back away or change their minds.
I agree, but you have so many Southern conservatives out there that so far all that money's being taken away hasn't done anything. So, like I said, Adam Silver's just waiting. I think that he already Atlanta has already put their bid in to take Charlotte's place if they can't fulfill the needs. I just think there has to be something. I think Adam's going to probably wait till July to let Charlotte figure this out. And if Pat McCrory decides, and the leadership team in North Carolina decide not to repeal the law or change it, or do something to it, the NBA has no choice. The NBA has no choice. Their hands are tied. There's nothing much more they can do.
Well, I tell you this much. You and I know you're going to be at All-Star Weekend. I plan to be there this year in Charlotte because it's a beautiful place to visit. I've gone down there for CIAA and to see friends. Great place to be. Danny, I'm putting this on you. You need to fix this. You are the de facto NBA commissioner. What would you do within the next 60 days?
I would give Charlotte to July 1st to repeal the law. And if that's the case, and if North Carolina decides not to, then you pull the All-Star Game. And then you put a 21-day, search committee for the sites that are closest to Charlotte, and then you make a decision. It's either going to be Washington, Atlanta, I would call Miami, maybe even Orlando. If you're going to make it an Eastern Conference team, be one of those four teams, and and figure out which of the cities want it, or you just put it back up on the open market. You get the NBA, you get the Board of Governors and the Board of Trustees to make this decision by about July, mid part of July, and then you have a new All-Star Game set. That means the city has enough time to host and get everything prepared, and it goes from there. I think you've given Charlotte enough time to get this together, and if the state of North Carolina doesn't want to get it together, then it's their loss.
I mean, we've seen Stan Van Gundy
you got too many corporate
up.
sponsors behind everything, so you don't want to lose your corporate sponsors over this.
We've seen Stan Van Gundy make a comment about it. We've seen Charles Barkley make a comment about it. So Danny, when is Michael Jordan?
Ted?
Yes. I said, when does Michael Jordan make a comment about it?
Ted?
Hey, I'm here. I guess we're going through technical difficulty. We're almost through with the interview. Hopefully, Danny joins us back. The question that I had for him, as I hope he's dialing back in, is if he's the owner of the Charlotte Hornets, what would he do? You know, I mean, it's only... Hey, Danny, you're back.
Yeah, I am.
Oh, okay. So hey, the question was, if you're Michael Jordan, the majority owner of the Charlotte Hornets, because you've had Stan Van Gundy step up and say something, you've had Charles Barkley say something, as the owner of the Charlotte Hornets and the host team of this year's, next season's upcoming All-Star game, what would you say? Or what would we expect him to say? I mean, historically, he doesn't get involved in situations like this, but in this day and age, I mean, it's different from being a player to being a majority owner, wouldn't you think?
I think Jordan will probably it'd be status quo for Michael Jordan. I don't think he steps into it too much. I think he would express his disappointment with the decision of the All-Star game being pulled in Charlotte. He was, say that, they wish they could have had better resolution. He'd probably give the best politically correct answer he possibly could in the situation. I don't think Jordan takes a stand either way because the law doesn't change. Guess what? He takes a stand on it. Either way, it's not going to affect anything. So I think Jordan would take the political response to it, and he would that would be my answer to it. I think in Jordan's case, he'd just be politically correct about it. I don't think he steps in either way. There's too many people that would do that for him. I don't think he'd be the one to do it.
Gotcha. So, Danny, the topic of the evening and the topic of the show is Mamba Day. Topic of the evening is what else can we expect, or what else can be said about Kobe's accolades and accomplishments?
It's actually funny how you mentioned that. 3 years ago today, Kobe Bryant he tore his ACL 3 years ago. In the Achilles game where he actually, hit the free throw at the free throw line. It happened 3 years ago today. So he wrote the statement. And it so happened to be ironic that today's his final game. And you look back on a career of Kobe Bryant, and every single accolade the man's done. The 5 championships, the countless All-Star appearances, the MVPs. You look at one particular moment, or you look at one thing about Kobe's career is that he's never changed. He's never changed for the times. He never changed teams. He's probably one of the last, if not the last, quote-unquote superstar or megastar never to leave a team. And if you think about it, how many megastars never left their teams to go play someplace else? That's the legacy that Kobe's going to leave behind. It's more than the championships, more than the points, more than the rebounds, more than the assists, more the off-the-court, the on-the-court ability. It's the fact that Kobe has been with one team his whole career. You'll never see. The only thing you question is it going to be 8 or 24 in the Hall of Fame? It'll just be the jersey number.
Hey, so that kind of dovetails into my next question. Who did you prefer more, number 8 and number 24?
24. 24 was killer Kobe. 8 was playful, youthful, spring step Kobe, but 24 was out to destroy you. He might have gotten the championships under 8 with Shaq, but 24 he was out to destroy you. And either you were with him or you were against him. It was one of the two. I love 24 Mamba more than I love 8 Mamba, but it's not by much, though.
The only thing I would say to this is number 8 Mamba was Scottie Pippen to Shaq, and number 24, he was definitely Michael Jordan with getting those rings. I guess a little bit of business. Did ESPN get it right? The Dubs go for history tonight on ESPN, the flagship station, and Kobe is on ESPN tonight. ESPN2 tonight, and both games are at 10:30 Eastern Time. Tell me about the business behind it. Yes or no, did they get it right? What would you have done?
I think they got it wrong. I still think because of the fact that if Memphis actually had a competitive team tonight, I would have made the switch. But Memphis' team is not competitive. This game should be over by halftime. Like I said, the only thing that we should count on is Steph Curry going to hit all 8 3-pointers in the first half. You got to play Kobe's last game. I know the Lakers are bad, but even more importantly than the Lakers playing bad is the fact that Utah is still playing for the playoffs. They still have to win to get their hands on Golden State in the playoffs. So you have a little bit more of meaning in that game because really Memphis is going to go to the playoffs. Golden State has got a shot at 73 wins, yes, but Memphis is not healthy. Now, if Memphis had a full squad, you have Conley, you have Gasol healthy, you have everybody else healthy on the team, then yeah, I would say the Dubs and Grizzlies any day of the week. But tonight, you got to give it to Kobe. It's the final night of his career. Let him go out.
One question that I don't want to make you uncomfortable. Will you remember Kobe for the failed rap career, the rape case, or will we just focus on the 5 championships?
I think you'll recognize Kobe more as being one of the more polarizing athletes you're going to find. He's one of the last of a dying breed of guys who wouldn't have cared if you're with him or against him. The rape case, people going to remember that. The failed rap career, unless you're Tyra Banks or Brian McKnight, I don't think that people are going to acknowledge that. Outside of that, I think, the championships are going to be recognized for it. But I think if there's one thing that's going to be, I guess, is the fact that Kobe wasn't exactly the guy that was the most liked guy in the locker room. But he was the most respected guy in the locker room. He is what, say, you're being from New York. He's an OG. He's the last of the OGs in the NBA. The last of them.
Definitely. So I think there's some unfinished business Kobe has to do tonight. I think Michael Jordan has a record out there of single game attempts at 49. Do we see Kobe? What do we see more? Kobe breaking that 49 field goal attempt record, or going for 50 points? And it's kind of synonymous.
I think they're both one and the same. I think it takes 50. He'll get 50 points on 49 shots. There we go. I honestly think Kobe is going to come out gunning in the final game. I really think, the question was I was at the Bucks and Magic game the other night, Monday night, and my thing with the Bucks guys and the Hornets and the Magic guys were over under on number of shots Kobe takes at 35. I said the over. Kobe is going to come out guns blazing. It's the last time. He might just go for 50, but the way he's been shooting most of the season, it might take him 49 shots.
Gotcha. So, I always ask you to look into your crystal ball. What are his next steps? What do you think Kobe's going to do next?
I think right now Kobe will take probably a little bit of time off, and then I think you transition him into a TV career. I don't think he's much on player development. I think he's a little too brash and a little too not people friendly person to be a scout or a coach or those types of things. But I definitely see him on television as a polar opposite to somebody who's a big time personality, because Kobe's mind, if you just listen to him talk basketball, is one of the probably the best minds you'll find. And I think he'll be a great analyst, not a color guy, but I think a great studio analyst. I think he would be the one that you would see on ESPN, like replacing I don't know, Jalen Rose or somebody. But I think he's that type of guy.
Gotcha. Danny, as always, we want to thank you. Tell us best ways to contact you. Tell us what's happening tomorrow night on Happy Hour Network. Tell us where to find you in the next upcoming weeks. Tell us all about the best ways to hear NBA Full Court Press.
Well, Ted, once again, thanks for having me on the show again. But the best way to contact me will be at NBADT29 on Twitter. The show Full Court Press is going on the Happy Hour Network tomorrow night, at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. We're going to be talking everything about the playoffs for 2 hours with myself and a group of a whole bunch of different people we're going to have stopping on. So we're not going to talk. We'll talk a little bit about Kobe. We'll talk a little about the Dubs. We're really going to focus in on the 8 playoff matchups. Also, check us out at www.nbafcpradio.com. All our awards are going up this week. Different little pieces about individual player awards, individual performances. The entire writing staff has our votes for MVP, Coach of the Year, all the awards. Also, we've just created an app that's out already on Android. So if you type in the word Full Court Press on your Google Play Store, you're going to see our app. It will have all our shows, have everything on the website. Also chats and also forums. So if you want to talk about your favorite team, please, by all means, do that. Pass on to everybody, and most importantly, it's free. So basically, you're getting all our content. You know, everything we write, everything you hear on the radio, and like I said, we have so many different things that we're going to do with the app as well too. So, and also follow us on Facebook at NBA FCP on Facebook. So you'll see a Full Court Press logo on there. And yeah, Ted, you know, once again, like I said, it was great to be on and talking hoops, and we got to do this again soon.
All right. Thanks so much, Danny.
Thanks, sir.